If you have ever taken a stand for biblical morality and insisted that a certain action is sin or that a particular person committed a sin, you may have been told that it is wrong to judge. There is a mentality throughout Christianity that judging is always wrong. Some people have the mindset that when Christians see sin, they should ignore it and allow God to deal with it. Jesus did make statements against judging others, but the Bible also tells us to hold fellow believers accountable. This appears to be a contradiction, but if we look carefully at the context of what Jesus said, we can see there are times when we should judge and times when we should not judge. When Jesus began teaching and healing people, he attracted a large crowd of disciples who followed him around Galilee. Luke 6:12 tells us one night Jesus spent all night praying. The next morning he called his disciples to him and chose 12 of them to be his apostles. Jesus took the 12 down to a level place. There was a large crowd there from as far away as Jerusalem and Sidon. Jesus began to teach them. After pronouncing some blessings, he said the following. And let's pick up reading at Luke 6, verse 31. And treat others the same way you want them to treat you. There is a reason this is called the Golden Rule. In many ways, this summarizes all other rules. People do not want to be murdered and abused, therefore they should not murder and abuse. You do not want someone to steal your possessions or lie to you, therefore you should not lie and steal. People appreciate receiving help when they need it, therefore people should help others. You are grateful when you are thanked and appreciated, therefore you should thank and appreciate others. Verse 32. And if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners love those who love them. And if you do good to those who do good to you, what credit is that to you? For even sinners do the same. And if you lend to those from whom you expect to receive, what credit is that to you? Even sinners lend to sinners in order to receive back the same amount. It is human nature to go along with the crowd. Many people want to blend in and not stand out. Few people have a desire to be known for excellence. It is normal for people to only do good to those who do good to them because people do not want to be taken advantage of. However, Jesus said there is no credit for being like everyone else. We should exceed the goodness and generosity of the average person. We should help others with no expectation of receiving help back. Verse 35. But love your enemies and do good and lend, expecting nothing in return, and your reward will be great, and you will be sons of the Most High, for he himself is kind to the ungrateful and evil. In the Old Testament time period, Jesus called the Israelites to be different than the nations around them. Here, Jesus did something similar. He called his disciples to be different. Everyone loves those who love them and does good to those who do good to them. Jesus called his disciples to take that a step further and love those who don't love us. Verse 36. Be merciful, just as your Father is merciful. And do not judge, and you will not be judged. And do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Pardon, and you will be pardoned. Many people use this verse to say Christians should not confront people regarding sin. If one person goes to a second person and tries to discuss a sin they see in the second person often shuts the conversation down by saying, Jesus said, do not judge. However, other verses clearly tell us we need to confront sin. Think about the context in which Jesus said not to judge. Jesus had just told people to treat others the way they wanted to be treated. In verse 37, Jesus said people will receive back what they sow. If people falsely judge or condemn people, they will be falsely judged and condemned. If people pardon other people, they will be pardoned. When Jesus said not to judge or condemn, he meant do not falsely judge or condemn. We should not live a life where we are constantly pointing out the weaknesses of other people. We should not be in the habit of criticizing others for things beyond their control or for things that are their preferences when their preferences are different than ours. If you are sinning, hopefully you would be grateful if someone confronted you about your sin. Therefore, treating others the way we want to be treated means correcting people when they fall away because we hope that someone would bring us back if we ever fall away. Verse 38. Give and it will be given to you. They will pour into your lap a good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over. For by your standard of measure it will be measured to you in return. The last sentence is a good rule of thumb. We will receive what we give. We will be held to the same standard we hold other people to. Verse 39. And he also spoke a parable to them. Can a blind man guide a blind man? Will they not both fall into a pit? A student is not above his teacher, but everyone, after he has been fully trained, will be like his teacher. And why do you look at the speck that is in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log that is in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, Brother, let me take out the speck that is in your eye, when you yourself do not see the log that is in your own eye? You hypocrite! First, take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take out the speck that is in your brother's eye. This is also a verse that is used to tell people not to judge. However, Jesus said, once you take the log out of your own eye, then you are supposed to take the speck out of a brother's eye. Jesus did not say it is wrong to confront a brother who is sinning. He said it is wrong to be a hypocrite. Verse 43. For there is no good tree which produces bad fruit, nor on the other hand a bad tree which produces good fruit. For each tree is known by its own fruit. For men do not gather figs from thorns, nor do they pick grapes from a bramble bush. Just as it is possible to assess a tree based on its fruit, so too it is possible to assess men based on the fruit they produce. Verse 45. The good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth what is good, and the evil man out of the evil treasure brings forth what is evil, for his mouth speaks from the abundance of his heart. If a man mistreats others and falsely accuses them, then there is something wrong with the man. On the other hand, a man who treats others honestly, fairly, and generously is good. Verse 46. Now why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I say? Everyone who comes to me and hears my words and does them, I will show you whom he is like. Notice the following parable describes those who obey Jesus. Verse 48. He is like a man building a house who dug and went deep and laid a foundation on the rock. And when a flood occurred, the river burst against that house and could not shake it, because it had been built well. But the one who heard and did not do accordingly is like a man who built a house on the ground without any foundation, and the river burst against it, and immediately it collapsed, and the ruin of that house was great. A wise man obeys Jesus. A foolish man does not obey Jesus. There is a mentality throughout Christianity that judging is always wrong. Some people have the mindset that when Christians see sin, they should ignore it and allow God to deal with it. Jesus did make statements against judging others, but the Bible also tells us to hold fellow believers accountable. When Jesus said not to judge or condemn, he meant we should not live a life where we are constantly pointing out the weaknesses of other people. We should not be in the habit of criticizing others for things beyond their control or for things that are their preferences. On the other hand, when we see sin, we should do as Jesus said in Luke 6:42. First, take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take out the speck that is in your brother's eye. Thanks for visiting Bible Mountain. If you have already joined my email list, thank you, and please tell others about Bible Mountain. If you have not joined my email list yet, please do so now. In order to join, go to BibleMountain.com, click on subscribe, and that will take you to a page where you can sign up. Your email address will not be sold nor given away. Once again, thanks for visiting Bible Mountain.